like we just don't care.
We're on.
Huh? Happy Friday,
We're
everybody.
on.
Welcome. I know, I'm talking. Welcome to Three Sides of the Coin. I'm Audra Erwin, the High on Life Coach, and I am super stoked to share this hour with Christopher and Carol. And today our topic is all about abundance. So the reason why we're going to talk about abundance today is because it seems like so many people, and even myself at one time, lived in a space of lack around certain things. And so we're going to talk about the subject of abundance and what it means to us. So I will kick off today's show and say what abundance means to me. What was that? Are you taking pictures? Christoper Rausch, you know I have squirrel syndrome and you can't distract me. Okay. All right. Are we still on, folks? Hello? How come I can't hear y'all guys? Oh, you muted yourself.
Because
we muted our microphones, fool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm muted. How do I unmute?
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yay. Why don't you go? Because there's something happening on my computer screen. I don't know what's going on.
What's up, ladies and
Now we
gentlemen?
can't
Hi, I'm
hear
Christoper
you.
Rausch. I'm the creator of the KickASS Guide to Life, welcoming you to Three Sides of the Coin. We come here every other Friday, most of the time, to bring you three different perspectives on a subject title that we pick. And this week we picked abundance. And me and my co-host, Carol Pilkington and Audra Erwin, are going to talk to you today and help you understand about abundance and how to have more of it in your life. Carol.
Hi. Well, abundance to me is really about living in the present moment every single day and really being appreciative and understanding and knowing of all that I receive and what I'm here to do.
Yes. Abundance, I believe it's our birthright. Abundance, we were meant to thrive in life. We were meant to enjoy life to the fullest. We were meant to have our desires manifest. This is my belief system. I believe that there's more than enough to go around. And oftentimes we don't operate like that in life, and there's a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of hoarding going on. There's a lot of people who aren't happy for other people because they don't think there's enough to go around. And so for me, this is a topic that is just really, I think, important right now, because abundance starts with gratitude and being grateful for what is and appreciating what we have, so that we can attract more of that into our life, right? So gratitude for me is like really crucial for abundance. And, obviously what you put your attention on grows. So if you're focusing on lack, right, like there's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough, it could be whether it be money, there's never enough money, I don't have enough money, there's always going to not be enough money, right? And instead of coming from that space of, you know what, I always have what I need, right? I always have more than enough, right? So that you have that energy vibrational shift that will draw in that abundance to you. But it's not just even around finances or money, but it could be around relationships, right? You're always going to get what you look for. So if you think, well, there's no good men in the world, right? You're coming from a place of lack, like there's not enough to go around, right? All the good ones are taken, right? That's a lack mentality. But when you look for all the proof to reinforce that there is, more of that shows up for you. So it's according to what you want to align with. Are you playing to win in life? Are you playing not to lose, right? So I just think for me that is that's kind of the definitive playing field for identifying how to draw an abundance into your life and to see life from that lens and that focus. So. Hello? Somebody else want to like interject? Is there a delay or something weird happening here?
Go ahead, Carol.
No,
I'll let you take it.
Well, I think I agree with everything that you've said. When we're not coming from abundance, I think we're coming from a place of fear. It's similar to not coming from love. It's the opposite of love is fear, and all its derivatives. So abundance is the recognition and acknowledgement that we have everything that we need within ourselves, and we don't have to go out looking for it.
Yeah. And I think you hit on a key point too, because the fear part, right? The fear aspect, or there's always something underlying when you come from a space of lack, right? There's an underlying belief there, right? And so I would say, where in your life are you sharing? Do you feel like you share, or do you find that you hoard, right? Do you like hold on to your ideas? Where in your life maybe are you hoarding? It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a clutter factory of hoarding, but like, are you hoarding, sharing something that would empower or serve somebody else? Are you keeping that to yourself? Like just identifying where in your life, maybe you're holding on because there's a fear of lack underneath of that. And there's clues there. So typically when we come from a space of lack, there's an underlying belief, there's underlying beliefs, and you can peel back the layers. Sometimes it's worthiness, right? Could be worthiness. Well, I'm not worthy of having all of that stuff. So you continue to manifest all of the things that support that, right? You could sabotage things of that nature, right? So what you said, checking in with the fears and what's underlying, and having you come from that space of lack. And really, where does it stem from, right? A lot of times, we've talked about in our previous segments about, our passed down stuff, right? Our hand-me-down beliefs, all of that, like settling, areas that you're settling in your life where you're like, well, you want to hold on to that because there might not be something else. That's an energy lack. But if we can open up and we can expand our minds and align with what we want and our desires and believe that we can have them and do the work and the steps, and we'll talk about and share some ideas of how to do that, we can draw in that abundance to us that we so desire and deserve and we were meant to have. Christoper?
I couldn't agree more with you guys. I made some notes thinking about abundance and whatnot, and Audra, what you said, and Carol, what you said are exactly what I was thinking as well. And I think that for me, one of the things that I like to teach people, because a lot of people have come from that scarcity mindset like you guys were talking about, the lack mindset. And one of the things I love to do is to teach people how to look at things differently. And just a simple example, I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were complaining about how life was so bad. And I said, let me ask you a question. Did you get up in the morning and walk over to a square box in your bathroom, and did you turn a handle and did water come out of the wall? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, was that water hot? Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty freaking abundant. I mean, all you have to do is, like your guys are saying, is look around and see what you have. It's 112 degrees here right now, and my life is very abundant because I've got air conditioning. And it's just, for me, that's what, when I look at abundance, it's like, it's not what I don't have, and it's hard to get in that trap because when you watch the media and it's all about what can I get, and we're defined by our possessions, and if we don't feel like we're getting more possessions or we've got all these things around us, we don't feel like we're fulfilled and we have the abundance. But for me, the biggest abundance I have is my health, because if you don't have that, then the rest of it is crap. I mean, you can have the nicest car, the nicest house, and go on vacations and all that stuff and have lots of jewelry or whatever it is. But to me, if I don't have my health, I don't have shit. And that's the big thing for me. And another thing is, and we're going to talk about how people can get abundant lives. For me, it's helping those that don't have stuff. So it's for me, the biggest thing really is health, because without that we don't have anything else.
You know, when you were talking about a sense of lack, I think there are three things that are core to what we believe about ourselves. One is we're not worthy. One is we don't matter. The other is we're not enough. And the abundance comes from all those three, especially I'm not enough, because if we don't feel we're enough as we are, then we don't feel that we have enough of whatever it is that you may think about. I don't have enough friends, I don't have enough love, I don't have enough this, that, or the other thing. So until we are filled with and filled up with knowing that we are enough and that we are whole, then we're always going to be searching and looking for things to fill that void.
Where do you guys, that's a really awesome point, Carol. Where do you guys think that comes from, that not being worthy enough? Where do you guys think that comes from?
I think the messages are usually off. Sometimes they're handed down to us, depending upon one's upbringing. The messages that we receive, whether they're real or not, it's our perception of what we're told or shown. When I was a kid, I was in school. I was up at the blackboard doing a problem, and I was compared to my sister all the time because she came before me and she had some teachers before me. And math was not my strong suit, so the teacher really embarrassed me in front of the class. So I felt that I was not enough, that I wasn't as good as. And my mother put a stop to that when she went directly to the principal and gave him the riot act, and that never happened to me again. But still, the message was set in, and that was something that I had to really overcome, not overcome, really take a look at and see where that feeling of unworthiness and feeling of not being enough came from. So it was that, plus probably a whole bunch of other things that happened in my life. And so I just had to go on a really deep journey to discover what it was for me, where those things came from.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, you know, like we weren't conditioned to be brought up owning how amazing we are and owning all the possibilities that life has to offer. I mean, when we're little kids, like, we know that innately, and it gets taken from us. And it's like we get to go on this journey to take it back, right? We get to go on this journey to rediscover the magic of life and all of those things, and recognize how amazing we are, and recognize all the possibilities that we get to create for ourselves and own. So ultimately, you know, I think that's just the journey and the process of life, and I'm learning to appreciate it more and more. And you guys still there? Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, but for me, it was like, you know, you're like, look at me, look what I did, and it's like, it's great for a little while, but then after a while, it's like, you know, we kind of take on this whole thing of, well, you know, don't get too big for your britches, don't be braggadocious, nobody likes a bragger, so that we start to water ourselves down because we don't, and we're meant to stand out and shine. Like, we're supposed to own it, right? We're supposed to stand out and own our greatness and stand in it and shine. And we take on those labels and beliefs and whatever and attach meaning to them, and we start to buffer and water ourselves down, and then we don't allow ourselves to really stand in our power and shine the way that we're meant to, because we come from that place of, who do you think you are? And, you know, and even just recently, because, you know, as coaches that we are, as mentors, as what we do in our work, like, we still grow every day. Like this platform is a way for us to continue to grow ourselves, right? And so even recently, you know, I continue to have another layer or another breakthrough or another something in my own life that evolves me to the next level. And even as much as me standing and owning my voice and owning, you know, my gift and my level of service that I want to bring to the world, you know, when I stand and I claim and I own how amazing I am, right, because I'm allowed to and I'm meant to and I'm supposed to, you know, that those voices and advisors creep in to say, well, don't get too big for your britches, right? Like, that just recently happened for me. Like, you know, I've been putting myself out there more and putting myself out there more because I'm called to share my message. And it's like, this is time where I'm owning it. I'm finally going, you know what, I have a lot to say and I care, right? And then naturally that advisor creeps in to say, well, you know, don't get too big for your britches, like trying to water me back down, right? And so you have to dig another layer. And underneath of that layer was, well, that will never happen because I'm humble. I have that level of humility. I'm real and authentic and raw, and I'm always going to call it out, right? So it's like we have to call out those fears, right? So that advisor that was all, you know, wanting to tell me, you know, don't get too big for my britches, I got to have a talk back with them and tell them I'm not going to, because is that really who I am? No, right? I know I'm totally getting off track of the subject of abundance, but I just think that sometimes this takes on different whatever, right? And it's meant to serve in whatever way it is. So sorry if I got off on a whole different thing, but why is
No, I think that's true. I think that it brings up a lot of things from a lot of different areas, and what you said was right on. So I don't think you got off track at all.
Roofing. How come, Christoper, I only see your picture, babe? Is Chris still there?
Yeah, he's still there. He might have stepped away for a second.
Okay. So, well, then, Carol?
No, I'm back. I just had to deal with a little something, but I'm back.
You had to go see a man about a horse?
Yeah, no, I had actually, my wife's on vacation right now, so normally she works from home, or no, she's not on vacation right now, she's on a business trip right now, and somebody's been trying to deliver something all week, but they have to sign for it, so I just yelled out of my office window, just go ahead and leave it on the front door, I will get it, no problem. But
well, thanks for the breakdown.
No problem. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys, something I'm going through where you talk about how we're constantly evolving, and I was just sharing with somebody the other day that I always thought about life being in chapters. You know, you got your first chapter, you got your middle chapter, you got your third chapter, whatever it is. And I found myself recently not going through a midlife crisis, but really coming to terms with life and the amount of time that we're given here, and that's just in abundance in of itself. But one thing I'm realizing more and more is that less is more. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about less is more, because sometimes I think we identify, you know, I mean, I make more money now than I ever have. I have a bigger house than I ever have. I have more crap than I ever have. And yet I'm looking for less to be more abundant. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree. And I agree 100%. And matter of fact, well, I think it's part of the conditioning process in the status quo that we have to acquire and attain, and all these things that are going to fill this void ultimately is the perception, right? Or the illusion. And it's not true. And I think more and more people are finding that it's not true. And for me, I put all of my stuff in storage, and I moved in with my 92-year-old grandma to help take care of her, right? And so I mean, I had a home, I had it decorated, I had all those things, and I am the happiest I've ever been in my life with, like, my little room with my grandma. And I even recently took my things out of storage, had a garage sale, sold half of them, because I'm like, I don't want to pay the storage unit fee. That doesn't make sense anymore. And it's also, like, lightens up and it frees up space, and it felt so good to do that. And I'm telling you, like, jewelry, like gold, you know, like I had all these gold rings, you know, stuff. I sold my gold, and just because it's just freeing up space energetically. And it's like, at one time, these were such attachments, right? So releasing your attachments to things naturally allows you to create that space to draw in more abundance of the real things and in the right things. And so I would say, whatever you feel you're lacking, say, you know, I feel like I don't have enough money, or I feel like I don't have enough love, or I feel like I don't have whatever. Find whatever that is that you feel like you're lacking and look for all the things that you do that prove that theory wrong, right? That prove that, okay, well, and it could be the smallest thing. Well, gosh, you know, my mailman is really nice to me. He makes me feel loved and appreciated and acknowledged, right? You know, whatever. So, yeah. Anyhow. And also, to add to that came up for me too, was what shifted for me was back when I was going, it's be happy for the people who have what you want, right? So say you desperately want to get married or something, or you want to have a baby. For me, it was having a baby, right? And everywhere I looked, everybody was getting pregnant, everybody's getting pregnant but me, right? And so then you tend to get that resentment, like, oh, see, look. And then and I personally was like not happy for those people, and that sucked, right? Like I was like a bitter Barbie. Like I would see a pregnant person and just be this bitter Barbie, right? Instead of going, wow, you know, good for them. So grateful that they, like, if I could tell myself back then what I know now, I would have completely been different and probably would have had a baby, right? But who knows? Doesn't matter. But still, like, so my big advice now is it's like whatever you want and you see that, go, wow, if they can have it, so can I. If God can give it to them, I can have it too, right? And that you carry that instead of, oh, well, look, another one just got taken out of the pot and there's only so many left, right? So I think that's tremendous and huge in creating a vortex of abundance to flow into your life, is to find appreciation and gratitude and send love and light and happiness when you're seeing what you want show up and manifest in other areas, because if it can manifest there, it can manifest for you too.
I think that's really well said, and I'm just going to go back to something that I was saying earlier about feeling lack within oneself. And when we begin to really take a look at what we feel the lack is about versus looking outside of to see what we feel we're missing, that's when we'll be living from a place of abundance. Because I think abundance is a state of being, not of having. And we won't need others or anything to validate or build us up or pick us up, and we'll just be able to just be in abundance, and abundance equals love.
Yeah, I love what you said right there. I mean, it's very true. And the thing that, you know, it's for me, it goes back to, like you were saying, that scarcity mindset. And I try to teach people that it's not about being selfish. I mean, I think there's a stigma that we get when we're kids that says, oh, well, don't be selfish, you know, share your stuff. And there's something to be said that part of my tip is that, you know, share what you have with other people. I belong to a group, I'll go on a side tangent for a second. I belong to a group on Facebook called Random Acts of Kindness. And it blows my mind how much these people are giving when they don't even have stuff for themselves. It's like, oh, I gave this homeless guy this, or I paid for Starbucks for the person behind me. And it makes me feel like an ass because I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I've actually been taking notes about stuff I want to do. But, you know, when I think about that, you know, the abundance thing, what a greater gift than giving to other people and watching their face light up. You know, every year I buy Toys for Tots, and I wish I could be there seeing these kids that don't have anything and opening that. I mean, for me, that's abundant. And it's so funny because I think we all go through that at different points in our life where it's like, oh, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? And then hopefully we get to a point where, like, what can I give? What can I give? What can I give? So, I mean, that's kind of what I think about, you know, that. And so one of my tips would be, go out, if you're feeling like you don't have enough, go out there and give to other people. Find a homeless person and buy them lunch and talk to them, or do something like that, and you'll find out how fast that your life really is abundant, especially if you got great people around you like you guys. I go back to health, and I go back to the people in my life that I can count on and I can trust. And it like we were saying before, the focus, and we all do it. Sometimes I focus on, okay, these people are assholes, these people are jerks, these people are trying to screw me, these people are idiots, these people are, and it's like what we were saying before, this thing called reticular activation, where what we look for is what we find. It's like if you buy a Honda Accord and all of a sudden you start seeing Honda Accords everywhere, the same principle applies in your life if you have that lack mindset. So that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah. And go to a third world country if you really want to. If you're not feeling abundant, ooh, it will make you feel abundant in more ways than you could ever imagine. Somebody's always gonna have more than you, and you're always gonna have more than somebody else if you look at it that way. Or you can just stay grounded in, I have more than enough, and I'm happy with exactly what I have, right? And you're always gonna launch off rockets of desire of what you want in your life, and that's what life is about. It's like, oh, what can we create next? What can we do? That's how we were born with desires, right? But an effort to manifest those desires quicker is to appreciate exactly what you have right where you are. And so I would invite everybody to just check in with what makes you feel abundant, right? Like, what makes you feel abundant? When was the last time you felt totally abundant? And see what was showing up. And then take inventory again and find the things that show you how abundant you are right now, even too.
And one thing I wanted to ask you guys, because we've been talking about ourselves and the individuals in the party, but how important do you think it is to be around people who also have that same mindset? People say, I think it's Stephen Covey said, we're like the 5 people we're around the most. So if we're around people that are like greedy and selfish and all that other stuff, chances are we're going to be like that because we want to keep up with them and we want their approval and everything. What do you guys think about the importance of that and having the right people in your life to be able to help you have more of an abundant mindset?
I think it's very important. My experience has been evolved. Those people around me show up to reflect how far I've come, and also how, what else I need to do. So it's a two-way sword. I have people in my life that show me that I've come a long way, but then I also come in contact with people that show me I have more to learn, and where those trigger points keep coming up. So I think it's important. That's the whole point of being out there in the world and not isolating. And I think it's really important to have those relationships and be able to open ourselves up to that kind of feedback. There's feedback out there from every which way you look, and we just need to pay attention to it.
Yeah, I love that. So show me and grow me, right? We got our show me and grow me friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you said, Carol, because it's so, I totally just lost my train of thought. Damn it, why does that happen? I'm so weird. Maybe becoming a product of your environment, my sweet grandma. No. Okay, so what you were saying, okay, yes. So about the people that you hang around with the most, right? They can kind of reinforce your belief. Oh, here's what it was. It came back to me. Thank you, Jesus, that it always comes back to me. We're really good at checking in with other people, right? Like, so you want your opinion, like, well, what do you think about this? And you call your besties, and you call your tribe of people that you trust, that you know will give you an honest answer. We do anyway when we align with that tribe. But sometimes it's best that we just check in with ourselves and our truth, Like, instead of, getting in that, sometimes we have the habit of, well, I'm going to call and get so-and-so's opinion, or I want to see what so-and-so thinks. And then having their opinion affect your opinion. Instead, just pausing and getting still and going to your heart space and getting out of your head and just going, well, what's my truth? Like, what's really coming up for me, right? But it's super important, Christoper, I think, to absolutely put yourself in environments where you're getting reinforcement or, oh, shit balls. All I see is this slow motion of me like waving my arm, and it's just distracting. I should have really turned my camera off today. But anyway, Christoper, you go.
I think my next idea here is what we could talk about is give some tips on how the viewers can create more abundance. We've been kind of talking about them a little bit, but maybe we should narrow it down a little bit. And one of the things that I think about is sometimes we go within inside ourselves or we go to our other people, but one of my recommendations would be that sometimes we need a third-party person, whether it is a coach or whether it is a psychiatrist or a therapist or a counselor or something like that. Have you guys had any situations where you've gone personally and either hired a coach or went to a therapist that changed your perspective on what it is that you really had in your life as opposed to what you didn't have in your life? And how was that experience for you? Was it enlightening? You know, talk to us about that and what it might be.
Holy radio show interviewer kicking in this Google Hangout. What is your opinion, Christoper? You're totally in radio show host mode. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to direct it a little bit. I mean, I can answer that question most definitely. I'm totally transparent. I've seen therapists, psychiatrists, and because sometimes, and that's a sign of strength. And I want to make sure that's really important. You guys understand that coming from the KickASS guy, you know, Mr. Macho, tattoos and everything. It's a sign of some people think it's weak to go ask for somebody else's help or somebody else's advice, but personally for me, I think it's a sincere, awesome sign of strength to be able to say, you know what, I don't have all the answers, and go talk to somebody, because the beautiful part of that, and I've had some people go do that recently, is that you can go unload on them and tell them every single thing in your mind about what's going on with you, and they can look at you and they can ask you a question that might trigger something. And on a different topic, I went to see a therapist a couple of years ago when my mom passed away. An interesting question, she hit me up. She said, Chris, when did you stop being a kid? And sorry, Audra, you're still catching up on the video over here. She said, when did you stop being a kid? And I thought, and that question changed my perspective about my life and what I was doing in it. So for me, I think that going out there and seeking outside assistance, whether it is a coach or a therapist or whatever, is a great starting point, because sometimes we need somebody to hopefully honest and kick us upside the head and say, listen, dumbass, everything is right there for you. It's all about the choices that you're making, and you have created the situation you're in. Thoughts?
Well, we can't see our blind spots. We need somebody else to help us, right? Absolutely, you know, coaching and I mean, you need somebody who can show you what you're not able to see, the patterns that play out, and give you guidance, and so absolutely. But I think that makes you highly resourceful. I think that when you're committed to having, you know what, this area of my life isn't working, or you know what, something has to change here, and it all stems from that deciding factor that, you know what, I'm stuck, and that you're resourceful enough to go and get help. I mean, I was stuck. I did not like feeling like a bitter Barbie, you know, who was just, I mean, I lost sight. That was my big thing about checking back in with abundance, was my infertility story, because I was so laser focused on what I didn't have, right? I didn't have the baby. I don't have the baby. I'm not a mom. I was like, I just lost sight of all the life that I had around me. I had wasted years that I could have appreciated so much more, because I was had such fixed attention and an attachment to an outcome. And it's just like, golly, you know, if we could just, you know. So what happened for me was I made the shift of, okay, what's great about not having babies, right? And I'm like, well, I get to sleep in. I can go to the beach. I don't have to smell poopy diapers. You know what I mean? Like, you find the things that shift your energy around it, and appreciate what you do have, and all of that. So but I was stuck, and I said I declared that I didn't want to live like that anymore. I just wanted my life back. I wanted to be happy, and I think it's that moment that you just decide, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of, complaining about the same things. I'm tired of attracting the same ass clown into my life, right? In a different skin suit, right? Whatever. Like that you go, okay, clearly something's up, right? And then you get resourceful and you go out and you find support. And you always find what you look for, whether it's the good or the bad stuff.
I agree. I've had a metaphysical teacher for 14 years. And just because I've learned a lot and experienced a lot and I have a lot to share doesn't mean I stop growing and I've learned all that I can. I need people around me that are going to, like you said before, bring out my blind spots. There are things that are so deeply hidden to me that are visible to others. I want somebody that I trust to show me the way, so that I can then begin to take a deeper look at that and reveal myself. I think that's so important. So to have people around us that we trust and that we can totally be ourselves with, and that's not necessarily giving advice, but just presents something that we might not be seeing that we can then take a deeper look at.
Yeah, and create a safe space for you to air it out, right? I mean, because think about that. Like, we carry a lot of crap around, right? I mean, a lot of emotions, and we're like, oh my gosh. And to have that someone in your life that you can just, it's a safe space for you to clear it out, claim and own all of your emotional baggage that shows up, and to work through it and to annihilate those fears that continue to have it playing out in your life. And so, if that's why you find your safe tribe, you find your people that you can call up anytime and be like, you know what, and that it's safe, right? Because the world wants to tear you down. I mean, like, just think about standing in the grocery store and just seeing the tabloid crap on the shelves where they're just ripping on people, and it's just, that comes from that fear and lack, right? Oh, see, not enough. It's never enough. Nobody's enough. It just reinforces the whole not enough all the way around. And I believe everybody on this planet just wants to feel like we're enough and that we're, that we're okay, that it's okay to be who we are and who we were created to be and who we were meant to be. And the more that we can hold the space for others to do that and allow ourselves to do that, the world is just going to be so much brighter, so much brighter.
So one of the things that we've been talking about, again, about more of our individual selves, I know I've had personal situations and people I've dated or been married to previously where there was conflicting mindsets about what abundant thinking was and what it meant to have things. I mean, it's always good to have things that are nice and have big houses and stuff like that. It's all great. But what advice would you guys give to somebody that maybe is in a relationship right now where it's either one person's abundant thinking and another person is scarcity thinking? What advice would you give them to kind of bridge the difference as far as being able to come together and have a mutual abundant life?
I think it's really important to have those conversations and be able to feel safe with one another. Sometimes I think that couples don't feel safe with one another, that they're afraid to really talk about what's going on in the deepest part of their souls. Even with a partner, one might feel judged and not feeling safe. And when a person has that happen, they need a third person maybe to come in and be that sounding board with both people there to be able to mediate, so to speak. Because those are really deep-rooted deep-rooted issues that people have. And there needs to be a way for each person to be able to, in a safe way, really communicate and get to the root of that feeling of not feeling cared for, loved, abundant, whatever the word that you want to use. And that's part of the process that I use, where we have two people sitting across from one another and learn how to listen without judgment or needing to give feedback or any kind of thing like that. So I think that kind of situation needs to be created, because we're not used to communicating in such a way where it's safe all the time, no matter what is coming up for an individual, because we take things so personally.
So true. So true. We have to speak our truth. And if you can speak your truth from a loving place, and you know what, and even sometimes, even if speaking your truth doesn't come out with ruffles and bows, it's coming out, right? And sometimes it serves. I have examples of where it was not pretty, you know, blah, blah, but it was like, you know what, like a little kid that has a bellyache and has been carrying around, you know, stewing, and I call it stewing, brewing, and spewing. You like end up like spewing it out, but at least it's out. And so it's just important, you know. I mean, clearly it's better if you don't suppress those emotions so that they don't spew out like that. But if we all could learn to speak our truth on a regular basis, if we could all learn to feel safe enough to do that, right? And it starts with creating that space for somebody else, right? If whatever you want back, give that to somebody else, right? Let them have.
And I think what you're saying, Audra, is a really important fact. And sorry for interrupting, but it's sometimes we think about the hate. You know, it comes about the resenting other people for having more. It's like, oh, well, that person has this, you know, I should have that. You were talking about the baby thing earlier, and we're brought up to be like that in a certain respect. But I turn those things around. I don't even use the word hate anymore. I use the word dislike. But for me, it's like, okay, why am I worrying and spending so much time on what these people have and don't have and what they're doing and what they're saying and everything, as opposed to what do I have control over right now? And that's a really key indicator for people out there watching. When I think about that, it's like, okay, well, so-and-so has this, and these people have that, and those people shouldn't have that, and stars shouldn't have that, and Kardashians shouldn't have that, and all this other stuff like that. But what about you? What is it that you're doing to enrich your own life, as opposed to poo-pooing other people? If you get abundance out of poo-pooing other people and what they have, then that's a shitty life that you got for yourself. So my advice would be, you know, if you have those things going on, is just really just turn off the TV and turn off the news and say, okay, it comes down to like the core thing. What's my purpose and what's my mission in life that drives me every single day? And one thing I started doing, I used to keep a gratitude journal, and one of the things I do now, because I started getting lazy about it, but I noticed my life was spiraling in a negative fashion. Every night when I go to bed, I say out loud a couple of things that I thank, you know, divine, you know, God, whatever you want to call it. I just sit there and say, thank you for this today. Thank you for that today. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my friends. And then when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I wake up and I get another opportunity to do something or not to do something. I'm not trapped. And so many people feel trapped, like, oh, Chris, I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. You don't have to do shit. You choose to do what you want to do, and that's your life, and that's what you make of it. So if your life is missing something, then choose to do something different, and that takes sacrifice, and it takes compromise, and it takes courage, and it takes guts, and it takes, you know, putting yourself out there. But the difference between living and existing is what you choose to do with every second that you have, because you don't know when it's going to be gone. And it's so terrifying for me when I think about that, because it happens to everybody. It's like I just got a call earlier from my supervisor at work that I managed, and he told me one of the guys had to leave because his friend's mom dropped dead at work. And it's just like, you just don't know. So my encouragement to you guys out there is just to really be responsible for the choices you're making, and just live your life.
Yeah, what he said. Again, my computer battery. So yeah, I love what you said because oh wait, I have to do something here. Like I call that a toxic fill-up. Like if you fill your abundance with getting off on other people's unfortunate stuff, that's a toxic fill-up. It's not an authentic fill-up. And so yeah, gratitude is the authentic fill-up. Fill up with what you want, what you ultimately want, and just find evidence and proof of it all around you. If you feel like I don't have enough love in my life, be that. Be what you see. You'll attract more of that. Sorry, I had to walk around. Carol?
Yep. I agree. I don't think I have anything more to say on the subject myself. I think I'd just be repeating myself.
No,
Well, maybe this is a good opportunity for us to open it up to the people watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay. Send us information, send us questions, send us topics that you find important that you want to get our perspectives on, and that way we can cater especially to what you guys want. I mean, we're here for you. We're doing this for you. We're doing it for us too because normally we just talk anyway. So we figured why not turn some microphones on and turn some cameras on and let you guys be a part of the party, because it's all about growth and it's all about transparency and authenticity, and we've talked about a couple of those things. So we encourage you guys to send us, you can contact each one of us individually. We'll give our contact information here in a minute, but I think what Carol was saying, sometimes we've said enough and we can go around and probably bore the crap out of you or entertain the shit out of you because we got Audra over here that's on a 10-minute time delay.
But, doesn't want to be turned on, right?
Audra wants to be turned on. Okay. Changing subjects. No, but seriously, let us know. I mean, you can contact me, Christoper, at ChristopherRausch.com. I mean, you can contact Audra and Carol. They'll give out their contact information. Let us know what's important to you and how you want to see us do these particular hangouts and help you live your life.
Yeah, you can actually contact me on my Facebook page at Heart-Centered Astrology and More. That's facebook.com/Heart-Centered Astrology and More.
Yay! And I'm Audra Erwin, the High on Life Coach, and you can reach me at audraerwin.com. And so I want to, I like to wrap with like a call to action, and I know we've kind of did some shares, throughout our conversation, but like open up wherever you're feeling lack, just open up and see and appreciate more of what's around you so that you can draw more of it in. And I mean, life is good. Like, turn the crap off that reinforces the crap, right? And like, find your truth tribe and your peace posse and like hang out with them. Life is much better when you do that. At least it has been my experience. So.
Well, I have a great exercise for you guys out there if you want to try it. It will help you make what you have more real. So what I've done, and Chris, you might remember this exercise, when you stay in your room, it doesn't matter where you're in your house or your yard, but put your attention on something, and before you move to it, just put your attention on it and then move toward it and touch it with intention, and then spot something else and with intention, have the intention to move toward it and touch it, and then go ahead and touch it. And as you do this exercise for 5 minutes, I can guarantee you, you will have an experience of what's abundance of the life that you're connecting with. There's life in everything that we touch, the trees, a blade of grass, a computer screen. everything, believe it or not, has a consciousness. And don't believe me, but experience it. And you can do that with this exercise. It's really amazing. You will be so incredibly surprised. So I challenge you to do that.
And I actually did that exercise with Carol, and it was amazing. For somebody who has ADD on crack, it was really interesting doing that. I kind of felt like I was an insane asylum at first. It's like, okay, I'm touching this carpeted wall, and I'm doing all these weird things. But it really does help you hyper-focus on that particular situation. The sad part is that I took that exercise, and I went to a club, and I'm walking around a club, and I said, okay, I'm just going to touch her for 5 minutes. I'm going to touch her for 5 minutes. And I wound up with a black eye, and I wound up getting kicked out of the club. So I don't recommend going to a club and doing this, especially if you're married and you have a significant other. But honestly, take Carol's advice and go out there and experience different things. And I think that's the core of what we're trying to tell you here, guys, is that life isn't that complicated. It's really, really simple. We're the ones in the driver's seat, We're the ones that are in control. So don't have that lack mindset. Think about what it is that you have just by the pure fact that you can breathe on your own. I saw a guy wearing oxygen masks the other day, and I thought that poor guy was young once. He took advantage, or he took for granted the ability to breathe. I tell the story. My mom used to be a fast walker, and when she got her leg amputated from smoking, and she was sitting in a wheelchair, and she said, "Chris, something happened to me the other day." And I said, what? And she said, somebody walked briskly past me. And I thought to myself, I used to be able to do that. That has stuck in my mind so heavily. I used to be able to walk fast. It's just amazing what it is that we have. So I really encourage you guys out there to take stock of what you have, get rid of what you don't need that's not working for you, and just really focus on what makes you happy. Just really focus on that. Don't wait for someday. Don't play the someday game. Play the today game, because that's all we have.
Yeah. And what you said was huge, Carol, and the exercise that you were talking about. What that does is it allows you to be present in the present moment. And when you're present, you're not thinking about filling a void. You're not thinking about lack or emptiness or whatever. You're present in the moment. You're appreciating in the moment. And you're connected and you're grounded and you're centered in the moment. And the more we can live from that space, it's like naturally those things unfold. And so that is an awesome exercise, and just daily gratitudes. But and just to find appreciation for everything, like for everything. If you can see, awesome. Yeah. You got all your senses, that's a blessing. Beyond a blessing. So I love you guys.
Love you too.
I feel abundant, having you in my life. So, and I know I was a little squirrely. So sorry for my spaciness. I think what's happened is the delayed, weren't with the video is like playing out in real time or something.
Well, you are on the East Coast, so there's a little bit of a time delay here in California. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's that solar whatever it is that's going on in the world is causing some disruptions. They said that the GPS might be even messed up today or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, is that why I've been up? And that's the other thing too, honestly. I've been up since 3 a.m. Like woke up like 3 a.m., and so that could be part of it, but could that have to do with the solar thing too? Like, why in the world? I'm like, really? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, my phone is sorry.
Could be. Well, on behalf of myself, Christoper Rausch, the creator of the KickASS Guide to Life, want to thank my beautiful co-host, Audra and Carol, and thank you guys for listening and watching, and hopefully we'll hear from you and get some ideas. But until next time, just go out there and live your life and have a kick-ass weekend.
It's 5:55. It's 5:55 here, which means manifestation, so make a wish.
Thank you so much again, you guys, for being out there and listening to us. I hope you got something out of it, and as always, I love Audra and Chris. It's so much fun, and I get so much out of it. Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Love you too, sweetie.
Have a great week. Thanks.
Bye. Okay. Are we all here?
No. How do I forgot how to hang this up.